Well, I'm so excited you're joining us for turning your goals in your goals on your vision board into a reality. And this was a suggestion. We've been doing this Saturday seminar series, and I'm Coach Rosa, so thank you for joining me. And we're going to talk about how to take those goals that were on your vision board and turn them into something that shows up in your life. And it could be on many levels. How do we do it metaphorically and using the law of attraction, and how do we do it also maybe creating some goals and steps for ourselves. So I'm really excited about it. I went to our experts. So Marianne Andrews did this for us a few weeks ago on vision board, and so she'll be back today to talk about how she manifests what's on her vision board. And then we have Kim Brown with us this week. She's often attended these. Now, I've known Kim for decades. I'm going to say maybe 20 years. She is the queen of manifestation, and what shows up on her vision board typically shows up in her life. So I said, would you mind sharing what you do with us? And she was very generous in saying she would. So I'm going to turn it over to Kim, and I will run the PowerPoint, and you guys just chat in the chat box if you have questions so that I can pause the video and answer your question. So having said that, Kim, Kim's amazing. So Kim is I've known her since she was the mechanical engineer. And she's an engineering talent manager now. She has a huge team, and I've known her. We met years ago at community education when I was teaching a workshop, and her little guy was just this little toddler back then, and now he's graduated from college and has a great job and awesome. And Kim's amazing. She is truly an amazing woman, friend, and mom, and everything, and daughter, all of it. So yeah.
I might have to get a tissue after that intro. Rosa, thank you so much. And, and I feel the same about Rosa. We've known each other, probably 20 years, and she has been my coach, my friend, my inspiration. I shared with her the other day that she's been one step ahead of me in her life and really been this great sounding board. And truly every step of my journey I've shared with her, and she's been such a positive influence, and I truly couldn't have done this without you. So thank you, Rosa. And I'm really excited that you asked me to share this morning and share my journey, and to get to know some of the ladies that we've been participating with over the last bunch of Saturdays. So thank you. And thank you for joining us on this beautiful Saturday morning in Rochester. We don't get days like this very often, so I appreciate your time. I promise you that if you take away a few tips and you put some of the things that we talk about today, into your life, that you will absolutely see results. One of my favorite things to do is to share the things that I've learned and to inspire other women. It's a passion of mine. So to be able to share this with you all this morning is something that really excited me. So when Rosa asked me, I went out and I found my old PowerPoint that I was using the last bunch of years, and I brushed it off because it was a little dated. And the last time I actually used this PowerPoint, I was asked to present to our summer interns, and this was a couple of years ago. And I presented this more of a step process of how to create a vision board. But what I wanted to, and Marianne shared that with us a couple of weeks ago. So there are some process steps in here for creating a vision board. But what I wanted to do, and I thought would be really useful today when we talk about taking your vision board and then creating, taking that and creating your future and manifesting from that, is what I really want to focus in on. So as Rosa said, I am engineering talent manager now, and I've been in the current role just for 6 months. And the last, maybe 6-7 years, my career and other things in my life that I'll share with you this morning have really just soared in a way that are truly amazing to me. And when I created this PowerPoint and I look back, one of my favorite things to do is to reflect and be excited and proud, and then look forward into the future and really be excited about what the next step is. So in order to put this PowerPoint together and share with you guys, I had to do that again. And that always energizes me. It's actually one of the things that I do when I'm feeling like I might be stagnant or I'm not quite sure what to do next. I reflect on all the things that I've done, and that gives me the energy to know that I can create more in my future. So with that said, let's see, we'll skip to the page 2. And there's just a few slides here. So I have mine, my slides in the background because I can actually see it a little bit better. So if you see me looking off at a distance, that's probably why. But so these are just some steps. And Rosa, feel free, we can share these after this with the team or the group that's here. So this just talks about, you know, what is a vision board and how I created mine. And I know Marianne talked a little bit about this, but I ended up using Google Images for the things that I wanted to put on my vision board. And I would copy and paste those into a Word document, print it, and then post it on a poster board. And I can tell you that my process changed and evolved, but as my goals were coming, you know, to fruition, and as more things were popping into
you froze for a moment, Kim. You want to just repeat what you that last sentence?
Oh, I did. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. Yeah. So what I so the process that I use is something that's like an iterative process, because my vision board has evolved over time, and as things become true for me in my life, I paste a thank you over them. I think Rosa shared that a couple of weeks ago with you, if you joined us for that. I paste a thank you over, and then I have been adding to the same vision board, and you know, the new things in my life that I want to manifest. So again, something will pop into my head for what do I want to do next. I will Google image, and then I get this feeling like the right image, you know, pops in that I see, and that's for me. I copy paste it, print it, and pop it onto my vision board. It is completely full now. So sometimes I'm pasting over some of the other items that, like I said, had come true for me. So there's just a little process there. We'll skip to the next slide. Can you guys hear me okay still? Okay. So slide 3. There we go. Okay. So again, this just talks a little bit about how I created my vision board. And in the very beginning, I broke mine down into categories because there were so many things that I wanted to manifest in my life. And when I broke it into categories, it helped me compartmentalize all the things that I wanted to focus in on. And I had goals amongst each of these categories. And then I went out and looked for pictures that applied to them. Okay, I'll go to the 4th slide. So this is what I really want to focus in on today for you, to explain how I went from the vision board to making these dreams reality for me. So I broke this down into 5 actions that I've taken. And I really think that this just puts the magic behind the things that I decided I wanted in my life. So the first one that's really, truly important for me, and something that I learned from Rosa, gratitude. Gratitude has been this tremendous support for me in my life and helping me transform my goals into reality. And one of the things that I will think about when I'm looking at my vision board, I will look at the vision that I have for what I want next in my life, and I'll say thank you for it. And I will just feel that in my heart, like it's something that has already come true. And I will just feel this tremendous amount of gratitude, and, you know, just like feel like it's already happened. And, and it's just an overwhelming feeling that, you know, it just warms you up. And some of the guided meditations that Rosa's taken us on, you know, will focus in on gratitude and kind of bring that love into your heart about things that you want to have happen in your life. So the second action that I have on here is something that Rosa and I talked about this week. It is overwhelming because I created a vision board with lots of things on it when I first started. And what I did to get started is that I focus in on the top 3 items, because otherwise I overwhelm myself. And I will write, I've got in front of me on my desk, my home office that I've been in quarantine for the last 4 months. I actually have index cards, and I will write my top 3 items on the index cards. And this helps me break it down and feel more manageable. And I'll give you guys some examples when I go to my next slide of some things that I focused in on, and really, concentrate on working those down, and show you how that, once those come true for me and everything's, working in that direction, I'll move on to the next 3 that I want to focus in on. The third thing is visualizing. And this went along with some of the story I was talking about in the gratitude, but what I'll do is I will look at that goal that is on my vision board, and I will believe that it has already come true for me. And I put an affirmation for each of these actions, and I will actually say these affirmations out loud. And the one that I use for visualize is, it is easy to have everything I want and desire. And I picture that already coming true. And I think that's really important. And one of the things I had shared with Rosa, she does a visualization with me many times around fear or around my goals. And we'll picture, we'll fast forward 6 months, a year, and she takes me to that future place where, that thing that I'm really wanting and desiring has already come true. And it's such a relief to, to think, wow, I have that. And then you come back into the present, and you're just energized. And again, that's when magic really starts to happen for you. Okay, my 4th one. This is probably the hardest one, and something that I've been practicing and practice again. Letting go, and then being ready. So it's a simple affirmation for this that I say, that I am ready. But I really do believe sometimes that we get in our own way. And when I say that, we get focused in on, how is this going to happen? And we'll stop the magic from happening. And when you can stop that and be really ready to let go, and remove that barrier, that's limited belief, is when I really think that you can project forward and really start to transform. So I have some pictures on my vision board around letting go, and then I use this affirmation. And there are many times when I'll let fear come in. When things start to manifest, I'll let a little fear come in, and I have to stop that and remember to use the affirmation that I'm ready. And it will transform that fear into, the magic and the manifestation. That one, again, that's really hard.
Can I just chime in, Kim? Because I've heard you say this. I remember you when you say, I'm ready, I'm ready. I say it the way you say it, though, because you're telling us that you say it, but say it the way you say it.
Oh, gosh.
I'm really excited about it.
Well, I guess, I say it with enthusiasm, and while I'm picturing, that thing that I'm fearing happening, so I am ready. I say it with like this. Is that what you're referring to?
The tone, you're like, I'm ready now, I'm ready. And sometimes you put your hands up when you say it.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of physical motions, I think, that I use sometimes when I'm doing when I'm practicing. So that actually leads me to the 4th one. And then when I get into some of the examples, maybe I'll show you guys some of my enthusiasm. But practicing is something that I think is really important, right? So when I say that, what I mean is that you have that vision board displayed and you are using it. And I have it, I'll put it in my life in many ways. So some of the things that I'll do, I actually have it, on a poster board, and I put it up in my bathroom. So when I'm getting ready in the morning, it's right in front of me. And I think that because I spend a lot of time, in front of that mirror, in front of that sink, and I think that's like a really good place for me to keep it. If we have company, I do sometimes tuck it away because it is, there's some personal things on there. But the other place that I will use it that I think is really a powerful place is exercising. And I will put it in front of me when I am, like I'll prop it up in front of me if I'm doing, like a workout on the floor, or I will put it in front of me if I'm on the elliptical. Instead of playing music, a lot of times I will just use that and I'll focus in on the images and let them, come to me and look at those. And the affirmation that I use for the practice is, and there's motions to go with this as well, is I am open to the abundance of the universe. And again, there's, the motion of really opening up and feeling that. So that's, the affirmation that I use to work with that one. Okay. Did anybody put any questions in the dialogue box? I'll keep going. If not, I can't see it from here.
Nope, it looks like we're good right now.
Okay, great. So I'll go to slide 5 and I'll just share my story and then some example and a couple examples of the actions that I've taken. Okay. I'm staring at my screen waiting for it to change, and it's because you're changing that one. Okay, so when I updated this slide, it actually said 4 years ago. So I had to look back and realize, wow, it's been longer than that. So, so this is my story. And about 6 years ago, my life was, I would say, about to change, and that change was really scary to me. And I wanted to put on the brakes, but I didn't do that. And I'm so glad, because my son was a junior in high school, maybe sophomore at the time I started this process. But, and I knew that, that I was going to, have to start looking for colleges with him. And that was the biggest area of my life that I had to let go. I love being a mom. And I just couldn't picture what that next step was going to look like, because I knew he was going to be, transforming his life. And I needed to, to work with him in this process. So, so as you can see, there's some college bound activities on there. And at the time I had a really great job, but it had been the same job that I had for about 10 years. And I really, it challenged me. I loved the people I worked with, but I wasn't sure where it was going. And I knew that I needed something different. I didn't at the time know I was ready for a challenge, but so that's the part where I had to keep saying, I'm ready for this next step. I'm ready. And this is the part where I would share an example of creating the top 3 action items. When I made the decision that I wanted to go to that next step in my career, I broke it down into the first 3 steps. And what I did, the first thing, because I didn't know what I wanted to do next. And the first thing I did was I went and did some exploratory interviews with some of the managers that I currently work for to see what was out there. What did they do? Did I see myself there? So I set up like half-hour meetings with some of our leadership team to see what it would, what they did, how they got to where they were. And they were very receptive to that, to share their story. And I also needed to update my resume, because that was something I hadn't done in a very long time. So, I had to find it, brush it out, put some, some results on there in my current job, and take it to some people who I felt were really good proofers. And Rosa was one of those. I had to put that, I gave that to her to say, hey, help me with this. What do you think? And that was a work in process. But when I accomplished that and I felt good about it, that was something that I knew I could use to go forward. And then the third thing, I let people know that I was interested in that next step. And what happened was the people that I made that known to were starting to look out for me. And the leadership team that I went to and talked to, they had it in their minds that I would be somebody that might fill some roles that were coming in my company. So I ended up staying within my company and interviewed for a job that I got. It was a step up. And when I got there, I stayed there for about a year, and I ended up getting another opportunity that somebody suggested to interview for. And I want to share with you guys that I had this interview that it was a great interview. I interviewed with 6 women, powerful women in the company. It was just amazing. And when I got to the interview, here's where I used gratitude. I shared gratitude with them. I practiced this interview ahead of time and being grateful for it. But when I got to the interview, I shared with these women how grateful I was that they took time out of their busy schedule to hear my story. And they were so pleased by that. I want to tell you, I did not get that job, but I left a great impression, and they thought of me for the next role that I did get. But I also was open to the feedback that they had for how my interview went. And they had some amazing feedback. I have to say, some of it was hard to hear. I'll never forget the one VP. She said to me, "You need to be more clear and concise with your answers." And at first I thought that was, wow, that, it stung a little, to be honest. I'm like, no, she's right. So the next time I interviewed, I was very, I focused in on that, and I practiced that. And I actually had those words on my vision board for a while that said, "I'm clear and concise." And I got that next role. And that's when it was a great leadership. It's engineering manager position. It's evolved over time. So I went from having nobody work for me really to 130 people, engineers that work for me in my current job. And it's just something that I'm so grateful for. And that job's evolved too over time, where it's the same, I have the same title, but our company's changed, and I have taken on more responsibility, learned so many different things. And when my son was looking at colleges, I think that was the thing that really motivated me and that got the emotion behind me being ready and finding that thing that was for me. Couple components in that. I knew I needed to find something to focus in on so that I could let him go, but I also wasn't quite sure how I was going to pay for college. And my son picked one of the most expensive universities in upstate New York. He went to Syracuse University. He's now graduated, like Rosa said, with a great professional job. But 6 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to help him the way I helped him. And my salary ended up increasing by like 60%, I think, over the last 6 years. And that was a huge thing for me. So I just wanted to share my story and, how those couple of things in my life that I focused in on, they came true. And I had a lot of work that I put into this, but then they just kept taking off. So, where I saw myself 6 years ago and where I am now, it is way beyond what I could have expected when I started to, create this vision board and then put this into practice and all of the steps that I've taken to get there. So let me go to the next slide. And this is where I want to share with you, for you to picture, where are you now? And the yellow, orange swoosh, your story, your trajectory. What is it that you want in your future? And when you combine this with the enthusiasm and the affirmations and the gratitude and the, I am ready, and removing those barriers and the fear, the possibilities are endless. And I can't say enough about how exciting it is, the process, how much fun it is. I mean, when I look back, I think, wow, I did this, and it was a lot of fun. And I mean, who doesn't want to, have things in their life that they've been dreaming about come true? So I really encourage you guys to, look at this slide and build your vision board, create your own story, and then use the steps and practice it and be excited about, you know, what you could have for the future, no matter where you are in your life right now. So I've got one more slide in here, and it's just, it's an example. So I realized this was in my packet because I was working with college students a couple years ago, but I created this vision board for my son. So I tell you, I like to share with people, but, and I love to inspire other women. That seems to be where my passion lies. But my son, he tells me he prints these out and he actually uses them, but I have to laugh. And I did actually see this in his dorm, kind of tucked off to the side. But I've created vision boards for him. And this was a couple years ago when he was looking for an internship. He did get a great internship. But, you know, he was starting to get overwhelmed and let fear set in for what his next steps were. And I helped create this vision board for him because I wanted him to, you know, to experience some of the things I did. And what better way to, I put it, you know, physically into a Word document and emailed it to him because I didn't see him very often while he was in college. And he really said, Mom, this does help me. So I just wanted to share an example that I created for him and, you know, inspire you guys just a little bit more. Right.
That is great. Thank you. If anyone has a question, just pop it in the chat. Or if you want to wait, we'll have Marion go next. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kim. All right. And I have to say, I have seen, we've talked so much over the years, and so watching these things happen are amazing to me. Like, I mean, I know I know you could do it, but when we, like the picture of the kitchen in there, was that your kitchen or is that the kitchen you visualized before you put
go back. You can go back to that one. So, this is great. This is when I was just telling the story the other day. So my son went to his first year of Syracuse. I had been wanting to redo my kitchen, right? I mean, Rosa knows my story. The house that I live in, I owned with my ex-husband, and throughout the years, I really I was a single mom for gosh, I don't even know how long, maybe 15 years. My ex-husband left when my son was 2, so I ended up keeping this beautiful home that you know is all mine now. But the kitchen was getting a little dated, and I had this vision. I wanted this lighter, brighter kitchen, and I went for it the first year my son started college, which is crazy. I'm so glad I did it now because I might not have when college costs started to rise and he started to do more activities. But it's not my kitchen, but it's the one I visualized, and it's it looks almost like my kitchen.
It really does.
Yeah, and you know, the other thing in here too, I'll just share. I now have this wonderful man in my life. We've been together 12 years. And when I started this vision board, we were boyfriend and girlfriend. We're engaged now. So there's the ring down there. I have the ring on my hand. I haven't worn it in a while, but we didn't get around to getting married yet because my son went off to college. But he I have that beautiful ring, and that's the same ring. I mean, it looks very similar to the ring that I was visualizing. And you know, a couple of years later, he surprised me, and that happened too. So I mean, I again can't even tell you how many tremendous things happen in my life. So
cool. Thank you. Yeah. All right, so we'll move. I'm going to stop sharing the PowerPoint now, and we'll go to Marion. And Marion's going to let me unmute you, sweetie. And I'll have to, yeah, I've got everyone else muted. So Marion next. Well, we met Marion when she did the vision board. So, and I bought that tape, Marion, that whatever one that was called to decorate the vision board.
Oh, okay, the washi tape.
Washi tape, that's right.
See that? Now you've learned something new and exciting. Washi tape.
Yep, like I'm working on a new board, but we're going to turn over to Marion now. And
I won't even tell you how many rolls of washi tape I have, but so good morning. Were you, I don't remember for sure, but I think you were all here for the vision board workshop. So you're going to be quite familiar with what I'm talking about, but what a great job, Kim. I love your life. I want your life. It's so good. So I wanted to talk about 2 specific things that were on my vision board and how they came to be. And if you remember seeing my vision board before, what I wanted to show you again was this little word right here, okay? Writing. This is my 2019 board. And I put this note on here, writing. There's two things I want you to note about it. First of all, I cut the letters out, I colored the letters, I put them on this matching board or piece of paper. I mounted it right in the middle at the top of my board. So obviously, subconsciously, I really wanted to be writing, all right? Now, the second thing I want you to note is writing is very general, okay? That's something I learned really well this last year because I just wrote writing, and guess what? The universe delivered exactly that, writing. Over in the last year, I have written in 6 different books. Let me get them up here and show you. 6 of these books, okay? It never even occurred to me that I would write at all before 2018. And here I have contributed to these 6. Now the first 5 is 1 chapter each, and the last one is a collaboration with my daughter. So did the universe deliver writing? Yes, but very generally, you see? So here's the lesson from that. Be specific. Remember when Rosa did the goals, SMART goals? Be specific. So I improved on that for my 2020 one. See right in the middle, the book, this is happening, and I have the name of it, Gloriously Grateful. So they can't get mixed up this time. I don't want to just be writing. I want to write this specifically. And it's a title that came to me a few years ago, and the angels have been nudging me in my meditation, especially Archangel Gabriel, because he likes bothering writers. So he's like saying, you got to write this book. People need to hear your story about your journey through cancer. So guess what? I'm on the last chapter. It's going to the publisher by June 30th. I'm just so amazed that when you get something specific and you believe it, there it, like it just happens. It's just like, there it is, here it is. I've talked with my publisher, I've paid for the editing, I've paid for the formatting, money has gone out. So this is actually happening. And the universe is saying, I guess she is serious finally. And they're just, things are just falling into place. I'm getting ideas that to finish up this or edit that. It is just so amazing to me that it happened exactly as I wanted it to. And I have just loved writing this book. It's been very hard sometimes because it is my cancer journey, but at other times it's just made me remember how grateful. I mean, the book's called Gloriously Grateful because not that I was grateful to have cancer, but the lessons I learned and what I was taught and how I was just carried through this just makes me so, as Kim was saying, you get so warm inside about that. Okay, so how else did that particular goal come to be? I was looking in a journal that I wrote sometime last year, I don't even remember, and I had written in there, book to publisher June 30th, 2020. I didn't even remember I had written that, but obviously, you know, other people remembered and said, this is your date, and here it is. It's actually going to happen. So you write things down sometimes, and maybe you're not paying attention, and it happens. And that's kind of like a double-edged sword in my mind, because I've always said thoughts are things, and what you're thinking about is going to happen. You know, it's like we all, maybe you don't remember Elvis, but Elvis Presley decided many years before that he was dying at 42 like his mother, and he did. I mean, he just brought it about. I'm sorry that he did it, but he was absolutely convinced that that was his time to die. And it happened. It was a very negative thing. And I was really upset when he died because I was going to go see him the next February and he died in August. But anyway, that's another beyond story. But that's how things can work with vision boards. Be careful what you're putting on there. Be careful it is exactly what you want. So the other thing I wanted to show you on my board from that year was an interesting one. And it's just the online, you see it, online webinars, okay? Again, I wasn't specific, but I keep getting invitations to do webinars. It's like, okay, you want webinars, here you go, you know? So I mean, I love doing speaking. I love sharing with people, and I love being in front of a live audience and having that participation. I mean, I get the jitters really bad before I start, but once I'm up there, I'm okay because I like it. I like dealing with people and touching them. And I've been so fortunate that I've had a very full and different life, and many times I've been able to help people that way. And as Kim was saying, working with women, and I'm ending up kind of funneling in that area as well. So, but the online webinars, generally I like to do pre-recorded ones so that I can practice it and tweak it and do all that. And I like doing all that. But Rose has invited me now twice to do live. So, hey, I'm learning how to do that. And it's fun. And so I want to continue with online webinars with my book. And so now I have to get that specific, right? Like, how do you actually live through all of these traumatic things and be grateful and get some hope? The other webinar that's happening is I've been given the opportunity to put together a summit of speakers for the end of August, and it's going to be an online summit. It's going to be free, and it will bring together speakers to give people some hope, because by the end of August, I'm thinking that we might be getting out a little more, and we're going to need that braveness to get going again, because we've been, although I work from home, so I didn't notice that much difference. But other people who, you know, if you've been home for the last 4 months, all of a sudden you have to go back out there, and it's a different feeling. And so we're gearing up to give people some hope and direction and bring that into their life. So again, something I never knew I would be involved in, but there it is presented. So it's so nice to see these things happening. And when we did the online, or about doing the vision board, we talked about how that you make those things happen. And Kim covered a lot of that really well. I'm glad you did. But the emotion, what I call it is living in the future in the present, okay? Your subconscious mind has no idea of time. It doesn't know if it happened yesterday or if it happened 100 years ago. So you may as well use that to put the future thing in there, and then you can live it in the present. And so the more times that you bring that emotion to you, make it so real. Like, I know how my book's gonna look. I know how it's gonna feel. I even did a few little practice covers. So I've got the name and my name, and I haven't decided on which one for sure, but I've got some there that okay, I can see the book coming in the box from Amazon. All right, the smile on the box. I've opened up 6 boxes that had my books in them, but this one's going to say gloriously grateful when I open it. I mean, it just, I can feel it. It gives me goosebumps already, because I know how exciting that's going to be for me. And then I have all sorts of ideas of, okay, this is one person for sure I want to give a book to, because they're really struggling right now with cancer, or, you know, and it's like, I'm living that entire future, but right now. And that emotion and that commitment is what brings all of the energy around to make things really happen. I'm an energy worker. I work with Reiki, and I work with IET, which is with various angels. And so I feel this energy around me. And when I say, this is how it's going to, guess what? It's so exciting. I love it. They bring it to me. It's like, woo, I didn't know I had that. And yet we all have that power within us, the belief. You know, I used to hear this saying, fake it till you make it. And I never understood that. And I thought, that's so phony. But what it really means is live the future in the present. So you're not really faking it. You're actually just imagining it, visualizing it, feeling it, knowing it. And all of a sudden, it is there. It is there. I'm just so in love with what I have learned in the past 6 years since, it's 6 years, I can't believe that, 6 years since I had cancer. And so I started on the journey of that, but it's like I'm a totally different person now because I've learned these things. Yet I had the opportunity in my 20s, I started reading psychocybernetics and books like that, and saw Brian Tracy when he was just starting out, and all these things. And I always taught my kids, thoughts are things. So, you know, be sure you're thinking of actually what you want, because otherwise you're gonna, you know, it'll be different. And I had all those years that I didn't really experience it totally. Sometimes it takes a big shock in your life, and cancer was that for me, to make you stop and say, okay, I need to change some things because this disease is here. Now, I happen to have a good outcome, but it wouldn't have mattered to me, the other outcome, because the journey of it, the learning of it, what I learned, and I'm so grateful for it. As Kim was saying, gratitude is the biggest thing. So it doesn't matter where you are in your life. I could have started doing these things when I was 20, but I didn't know enough about it. You know, if we were 20 and knew what we knew now, what a different life we would have, right? But it's not too late. I turned 72 on Wednesday, and I feel like I'm just getting started. You know, it's like, whoa, what else are you going to bring me? So I'm being much more specific. The SMART goals, specific, measurable. So yeah, a book in my hand is pretty measurable. The A is achievable, and obviously it's achievable. I've got 6 books sitting here that I did achieve that I had no idea that were going to happen. The R is, what's the R? I forget. Realistic.
Realistic.
Thank you. And then the timeline. Well, I wrote the timeline in my journal last year when I didn't even realize I was writing an actual timeline for June 30th. So whatever you want, whatever you feel, and you know what? Even if you start out general like I did, they're going to deliver. And just be looking. Look around and see what actually you have manifested in your life. I guarantee, without a doubt, that you have manifested things in your life that you're not even aware of. Just look around and think, oh yeah, I thought about that. And here it is. Okay. So I'm so glad to share this with you. If you have any questions, we'll be glad to talk to you, but I'll turn it back to Rosa.
Thank you. That was really great, Marion. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I forgot to say, we've known each other for quite a while too, probably.
Yes, we have.
15.
I went to a seminar of yours a long time ago.
Yeah. And then we met again at another group, and then we became friends. And so this is really inspiring. Thank you. I think some of the things that I was thinking about when you guys were talking about manifesting and how to make what's on that board show up in your real life. One of them is, I was thinking about how important it is, and you're saying it, is to get in that vibe, right? To get in that vibration of what it is you want. And then from there, really taking that inspired action. And so part of it is, how do we, the universe responds to our activity. And so if we have this, we visualize something, we don't take any action on it, well then we're telling the universe we're not ready, right? And so I think that's a really something else that we want to talk about, but also letting go. I think that's really important is, both Kim and Marion said that the outcome is going to, whatever comes from this, I'm not going to be attached to that. And letting go is for me also more of a harder part, but I know there's value in that. And I know it's very powerful when I do it. And of course the gratitude's incredible. And the way I break it down of getting actionable items, some of the things that we talked about, is because I'm going to show you one thing. I'll show you this was a vision board I had before I turned 40. So I'm 56 now. So this is an older one, but I have this website. It said 2002 to 2003. So that's how old this is. And I have all these affirmations around it, making a difference, one day at a time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That was when people didn't do online businesses. And I wrote, I love my members. I have these little, almost like a testimonial that I made up and put on there of somebody. And what's cool is, I looked at that every day, but I had to break it down into manageable chunks, right? So I did what Kim suggests is really powerful. Just focus on 3 things. Focus on 3 things. So if I'm going to focus on the website, then I got to focus on 3 things. And what's the 3 most important things I can do? I have to, structure the layout of this thing. And I literally took a board and I used Post-it notes like crazy. I just did, I write these little Post-it notes to myself to remind myself I have to hit record. But I did, okay, here's the home page with a Post-it note. Here's this page with a Post-it note. Here's the blog. And then under each one, I put other Post-it notes. And as I got them done, and I only focused, I think focusing on 3 is powerful because then you don't get overwhelmed. I was thinking about my process. So my process is highly visual. I even have an infographic, and I don't have it in front of me right now. But when I developed this weight loss coaching program, I created an infographic around it. So I went on Fiverr, and I didn't pay much money to get it done. And I put all the components that I want on this infographic. So it had weekly, coaching session, emailed assignments, whatever, all the things, daily thinking thin thoughts. And I put it all the way around that image. And then I took that image and I put it in my journal, and I basically wrote down subcategories under each image. Okay, so if I'm thinking thin thoughts, it'll be Monday through Friday. I need a group app that I can text a group. And so I started doing those kind of things. But that infographic was really kind of cool for me. And that's what I think helped me get a lot done. It was amazing when I look back on it, how much I got done, because I just checked those things off as I did them, and I focused on one small aspect of it. Okay, I got to do the plan for the year. Now, I just realized something I'm going to share with you is the reason I started a virtual weight loss coaching program is I miss working with everybody, right? But I don't have the time or really the bandwidth to work with people one-on-one anymore in this office. Some of you have been in this office. And I really want to continue doing that. So I decided I love virtual. I'm going to do it. Well, you know what I forgot to tell you about this little thing? I forgot to tell you, I just realized. I love virtual and I love the opportunity it brings. But the coolest thing is I also got an award for that thing in 2004. So looking at that thing for 2 years, the award shows up, and it shows up because the woman who helped me, I ended up having help me, who said I love helping women with this website, kept calling me 2 years later and saying, there's this thing going on and you should submit your website to be considered for it. I would not have done that on my own. And then she called me and reminded me, I'll never forget, and said, Rosa, it's the deadline's tomorrow. I really think you should do it. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I took action, inspired action, right? So I knew I loved that experience. I knew it was something that maybe the time has come now. When I tried it 18 years ago, it wasn't taking off like I thought. And I said, okay, we know we manifested an award for it. It had to be a good idea. You're a visionary person. It didn't end 15 years ago. You still have visions. Let's go with something you think will be cool. And that's why I decided to do the virtual weight loss coaching thing. But here's what I want to share with you that's funny about that. In my mind, it's like, okay, when I'm ready to retire, when I'm ready to put back, work full time is a lot of time. I want to do this more, then I'll have this set up. I never really even advertised it yet. I'll never forget, it was New Year's Eve. I was getting ready to go to my girlfriend's house, and I just popped everything in, like the PayPal piece and all this stuff, and I got a sale. Like somebody's joined. I got a member. And you know who my first member was? Marion. I'm like, how did she even know this was here? How did she find this? I didn't even tell anyone. And that was the sign from the universe. And I think that was 2018 because we were going into the new year. And I think I was like, I guess this is what I meant to do then. Okay, I'll do it. Because I really wasn't sure if anybody, I didn't invest a lot of money in trying to put it together because I was thinking, what if no one joins? So I really, really love that. So, and I love the phrase you said about living in the future. Yeah. Here.
I guess I was really looking, and I was part of your very first Mind Over Platter. I still have the CD and the book and all that from 18 years ago. And I went to a little thing that you did over at the Green Door, I think it was, or over
Full
there
door?
on,
yeah,
over there. Oh, the green door, purple door. Oh, well, a door. And so I guess I was always looking for that kind of thing. And when you just happened to mention it on Facebook, and I thought, hey, I can get part of this. And so, it was how these things happen is so amazing to me. And I mean, the focus on the book, that's all my energy now. Everything is around that because it's going to be done by June 30th. And it's so fun to see how many energies come to push you and help you get to that.
So cool.
I'm glad I'm part of it.
I can't see you anymore. I couldn't see when you put up your board and stuff.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me, hold on. Let me see. I might have to pause recording. Okay. So let's do a quick visualization of all the things we heard and kind of bring it together. And all I want you to do is take some nice deep breaths in through your nose, exhale through your mouth. What you're going to do is you breathe in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Just focusing on the sound of my voice. Letting yourself gently, gently, gently drift down into the chair. So nice to relax for a few moments. And as your mind processes all of the suggestions and the insight and the energy, this positive energy, let's do this. Let's imagine that you are standing in the middle of a circle of all of us that were here today. And maybe other people that are great manifestors. You're in the middle. And imagine that you're looking at your goal, your vision board, whatever's on it. And you're getting excited about it. You're deeply grateful. But imagine that all of us, these magnificent manifestation machines that we are, extend our hands to you now. And all that positive energy that has allowed us to turn our goals into our reality is just chiming right into you. It's flowing right into you right now. Imagine how good this feels. That's right. Now I want you to imagine for a moment as you're absorbing all that positive energy, that manifestation driver. Imagine that you could just go forward in time, where this is all your reality. Just imagine what's in your life. Breathe in gratitude, profound gratitude. And as you embrace how good this feels, look around in this future you. Imagine you're seeing someone you haven't seen in a while, and you're sharing how cool it's been that all this has been popping up in your life. Own it into your heart. And imagine that with that, you're reassuring them that they could do the same. And as we imagine that, I want you to extend your hands in your mind's eye or in real life to that you in the future, giving them all that energy as they are extending their hands to you now and all of us, magnifying this high vibe energy, grateful, positive, manifesting. And it brings you in this moment filled with a desire, drive, a peace, a knowing, deep gratitude. And as we allow all that energy to just fill us, keeping what we learned in our conscious and subconscious mind to be used effortlessly, letting go, taking inspired action, breaking it down in something that's easy to accomplish, saying thank you, seeing it often, getting excited about it now as you bring that future into this moment. So allow that to integrate. And whenever you're ready, opening your eyes,